Good morning. Hey, this is Nick. I'm going solo today. It's been a long time since I've gone solo, so I thought I'd see if I can do it. The day started out wonderful. I've got rheumatoid arthritis. I've been hurting like hell for quite a while. I got a steroid shot a couple weeks ago, and boy, did that but I still don't sleep worth a damn. Well, last night or this morning, I woke up and I said, God, I slept good last night. I feel great. And I do. And it was just amazing. If you haven't had a good night's sleep, when you finally get one, how much you appreciate it. So I'm going around outside. I've got a field out back that's 1.2 acres. And I decided to turn the water on the fruit trees. I've got a half a dozen or more fruit trees out there and walk the perimeter. There's a ditch out behind me, and some of our brothers and sisters that don't have a home, they move into there periodically. And as long as they don't leave a mess, I don't care until, it gets too dry and they start having fires. But that's beside the point. I went around the corner and there's a pile of wood I've got out there that's cedar that's being worked up. And a fawn jumps up and runs right into the fence and starts crying, then gets out and runs to the other end and gets through the fence and runs off. And I'm going, oh, geez, poor thing. And I go check and make sure the water's working. And Mama Doe gets up and she's walking around kind of looking for her fawn. So I decide I'll go over to the side and open up the gate and give her a way out to go find her fawn. And I start opening the gate and the Hornets hit me. I got hit 5 times. So it kind of took the dew off the pumpkin. And I went and got some spray and went back out there and I'm looking for their nest and I couldn't find it. So they decided to hit me another 3 times and I found it and I sprayed them and they're gone. But boy, that sure puts the skids on a really nice morning. But I've got through it. I'm going to calm down, and I'm looking forward to Saturday night. I'm going to go spend the night in the mountains, camp under the stars. I haven't got to do that since we poked the hornet's nest from KCNR over to KQMS because we were on every week then, and I dearly miss that. And that's part of the reason I decided that it was a good time to not do radio anymore. It's just that it was taking so much time and I didn't get to do anything in the summers because I was married to that. So this is a lot better. So moving on. I got a letter in the mail from Shasta County Superior Court that I ran a red light. It's at Cypress and Bocelli Lane. And I could go to the video and I could look at it and I could protest it if I want. So I went to the video and they had me dead to rights. I couldn't find anything to complain about. So I sent them, let's see, I think it was $405 and then $70 if you wanted to do the school, the little class, and they wouldn't turn that 1 point into your insurance and it wouldn't affect your premiums. So that cost me an additional $70, and I did take the class. And the name of it is bestonlinetrafficschool.com. And you don't have to pay till you're done with it. And boy, I'll tell you what, I learned a lot. It took like about 4 hours, but I could do it in increments. I would do a couple of lessons whenever I had time, and I got through it. But it updates you on all the laws and refreshes your memory on some of the laws you might have forgot about. It was well worth it. If you've got time, I would suggest you do it. And that cost me an additional $75. So I think it was pretty close to $550 for just being just partial of a second running that red light. I bet you I don't do that again. But anyway, I want to read to you what they sent to me. Hi, this is Sheila Aguilar, the owner of Best Online Traffic School. I wanted to personally let you know that your case has successfully closed. The court has proceeded your traffic school submission without any issues. They will inform DMV to hide your point on your driving record. This is handled internally by the court and DMV. We don't have access to it, but 99% of the time it's completely smooth. If you have a commercial's license, you need to take an additional step. Thanks for choosing online traffic school. Now, here's what I'm wondering. I kind of leaves a sour taste in my mouth, although everybody would take advantage of it as I would. But here you've got the DMV, a government agency, conspiring to take away a potential raise for a private entity, which is the insurance company. Where do they get off paying and putting you paying to go to a class, and they hide the evidence that you got a red light and perhaps your premiums need to be increased? Now, I can see where everybody's all in favor of it, me too, but that's the way our government works. And I just think that probably that isn't the best thing. I don't know, it was best for me. And then President Trump this evening, he is going to address the nation. And there's a lot of speculation about what it's going to be about. He's building it up to bit where it's a really, really important address. It's at 6 o'clock tonight, and I hope you have time to watch it. I was listening to a podcast this morning, and this gal speculated that it's about unfair elections, about elections that were compromised or even cheating. And she picked out two senators, Ossoff and Warnock from Georgia. And the FBI, they went and subpoenaed and took records. And that's why she believes that they probably have proof that there was cheating to get these two in Congress. And if that's the case, what is the remedy? You can't just boot them out of the Senate because there's no precedent for that. And she felt that to do that, they would have to go to a 2/3 vote to remove them from the Senate. And she felt that that's probably impossible because the Democrats would never go along with that. And I agree with her. But that tells you a lot about the Democratic Party. If you gave them straight proof this is cheating, they wouldn't do anything about it. If it was the conservatives, I believe they'd say, well, you cheated. You're not supposed to be here. We're going to get somebody else. But not the communists, not the socialist Democrats. And so I think it bears in mind that you should watch that speech from our president, the best president in my lifetime, tonight at 5. You know, last week, Doug and I had quite a heated argument, and Leslie was in on it also, about President Trump and going into Iran, and it morphed off into Israel and the October 6th massacre and all this and that. And I watched it, and boy, did I look heated. And I want to tell you that I wasn't heated. I was just having a good conversation, a good argument with Doug. We have these arguments periodically. And if I look angry, believe me, I'm not. I'm just arguing with him. And I couldn't believe how angry I looked. So if you're watching that, believe me, Doug and I have a wonderful relationship. We're friends. And after we get done with an argument, we move on and it's over. And I just wanted to point that out. Now, I was reading the Record Searchlight this morning, a little bit of it, and they were talking about the people that are retiring from city government. And in 2022, Barry Tippin said there were 88. Tippin said in January 22 that the city's 88 executives. Now, what the hell do we have 88 executives for? That beats me. Slightly more than half were eligible for retirement within 2 years. Now, these people are all making big money, and their attitude, we're going to have to give them more money to entice decent help to come to Reading. And I don't agree with that, but that's the way it's gone. And as proof of that, I've got this article that was written in, I think it was 24. In April, the city council approved a $300,000 contract with a California law firm. No, this wasn't what I wanted to read to you, but I'm going to read it anyway. In April, the city council approved a $300,000 contract with California law firm Burke Williams Sorensen LLP. LLP stands for Limited Liability People, I guess. I don't know what the P is for. To provide interim legal services for the city for the fiscal year of 25-26. The firm's managing partner of the Marin office, Benjamin Stock, was selected to serve as Reading's interim city attorney during that period, according to the council's staff report. Now, I don't know what happened to that Christian. I don't know what his last name is. It seems, no, it wasn't that. But anyway, he went to work for Vacaville, I believe. And I can't believe that he was just here for 6 months or so and decided to move on. I believe he was probably told, you know, you can move on or we can fire you. But he was getting, well, let's just say $200,000 a year, and then another $80,000 in benefits, and then another $125,000 in PERS retirement system. And if we can get these guys for $300,000 a year to be our attorney, it sounds like a deal to me. You know, being they're not a City of Reading employee, they would have to be liable for their mistakes, in my opinion. That's just something to think about. Where'd that other piece go? I don't know. I'm lost. I'm scared. I don't know what. Here it is. The total cost. This is the raises that were given to the City of Reading. I think it was 2024. It might have been 2022. The total cost of the proposed raises for all 88 positions would be approximately $1.3 million, with $670,000 coming from the general fund. There is sufficient budget available for the increase, said the city's staff report. A consulting firm hired by the city recently determined that Reading pays less total benefits than some comparable cities, including Chico. Voting in favor of awarding the pay boosts were Kristen Schrader, Aaron Reisner, and Julie Winter. Council members Michael DiQuesto and Mark Mazzono voted against the measure. Now, if you recall, that was ARPA funds that picked up the rest of that. And I remember Kristen Schrader saying, well, if we've got the funds, let's give it to them. And it amounted to, I don't know, a 20% pay increase, if not more. And it was, the funds were a one-time deal. So as soon as those funds are gone, the taxpayers are paying for the remainder of it, and it just goes on and on and on. And if I can see real quick here we go, the other benchmark cities. Let's see. Reading hired a consultant to study salary and benefits for all its represented and unprecedented positions for unrepresented workers. Results were compared to benchmark cities: Chico, Davis, Fairfield, Folsom, Lodi, Roseville, Tracy, Turlock, Vacaville, and Woodland. I don't think Reading compares to any of those places. And it's just, that is how we are represented, and that's what we need to make a change to. Now, Aaron, who voted for these raises, is moving on to the Shasta County Supervisors. And it's going to be quite interesting when she gets up there, because we've got a couple people that I believe will go along with her, or she'll go along with them. That would be Matt Plummer and Alan Long. And they seem to take the opposite direction that the conservative members right now take. We've got a conservative majority, and we have 3-2 votes quite often. One of them was to put the measure about the eminent domain on the ballot for this next year. And what's going on there, the amendment to our charter, thank you, Kevin Cry, for getting us a charter. The amendment to our charter is the government cannot take private property from a private owner and give it to another private entity to develop. Now, it just makes common sense that you don't want to do that, because where do you get off taking my property and giving it to, say, Jeff Gorder's built wrong construction company? That happened, I think it was Blue Harbor in Massachusetts. They took a whole neighborhood, and some of these people had lived there for years and years and years and had their houses paid for. And the private entity, they took the property through eminent domain. I'm pretty sure they gave it to a private entity that was going to develop it into a big shopping mall or something like that. And that fell through. So these people are out their home. They had to go replace their home. They probably can't do it for the money they got. And they were happy where they were at. And this private entity owns their home. So if Jeff Gorder built wrong construction, was to go through the county and take my 1.2 acres, saying he's going to build, say, 26 housing units for mentally ill people. And they do that. They take my property and they give it to him. And I wonder if he'd have to pay for it. But they give it to him, and he's got a grant that's going to do this. It's all taxpayer money. It ruins my serenity, one of the main reasons why I brought that property. It ruins my investment opportunity. And if his grant fell through, he would own my property out back. And, that's why this needs to be on the ballot for the people to understand the potential, what could happen. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Our founding fathers put numerous items in the Constitution that hadn't happened. And you can see in the future how wise they were to look ahead to see the potential of what could happen, and let's put the kaput to it now instead of waiting for later and litigating it in court. So if you conservatives, you people need to get out and vote, or they'll shove stuff like this down our throats, and it's not good. And that is what has happened to our government, city, county, state, federal. We need to get out and stand up for ourselves. And I was also reading, and they're going to have another charter amendment on. And by the way, these two failed the election about a year ago. We voted on them. They failed by less than 1%. And the other side, they're arguing that we already voted on it. So, why are we voting on it again? It's money wasted. It's going to cost approximately $50,000 per item. So that's $100,000 at the most to put them on the ballot. But the thing is, if you want to go by the first vote, didn't the taxpayers in California vote against gay marriage? And, the left took it to court and turned it all the way around, and we didn't get to vote on it, and now it's legal. Even our governor officiates gay marriages. And that's not the will of the people. So that's just something to think about. We need to quit bending rules to satisfy the other side. The conservatives need to stand up and say, this is enough. We're not going to take anymore. And the final thing I want to bring up before we go to some clips is that in Reading, the new homes in Reading, 37% of the new homes sold, well, not new homes, but homes sold, were by already Reading residents. But the largest percentage of people, the next largest percentage, are people that moved here from San Francisco, Sacramento, and Los Angeles. And I've been saying all along that Shasta County and Reading, well, Reading especially, is liberal. And this is what you get because they are liberals. I've got 1, 2, 3 in my neighborhood that have moved from out of the area, one from Bend, one from Los Angeles, and one from Sacramento. And they're just liberal as heck. And they don't know the issues here. They don't know the history of Reading. They just think everything's hunky-dory, and let's elect Joanna Francesca. And we need to recall Kevin Cry. They don't even know who the hell he is. And it just really leaves a sour taste in my mouth. I advised a guy at the election that came in, and he didn't have a clue what he was voting about. In fact, I think he was illiterate. But he was registered. He got to vote, and he's over there struggling. And I walked over and I said, can I help you? And he says, well, I'm looking for this Steve guy for governor. And we went up and down. Oh, well, here's Steve Hilton. Yeah, that's him. He clicked that. And he says, I don't know anything about the rest of these. And I said, well, if I don't know anything about who's running for what, I just bypass it. You don't have to vote for those. Oh, okay. So then he went to the register of voters and he says, I'm looking for that gal. I hear good things about her. So I showed him where it was as much as I didn't want to. And he put his X down there and put it away. So I would really emphasize, if you don't know who you're voting for, if you don't know their stance on what they're doing, you don't have to vote for that position. So with that, we are going to go to some clips. This is from Stephen Gardner. I'd like to say he's my cousin, but he's not, but we share the last name. And he's on YouTube. And he has a congressman. I assume he's a representative from Florida. His name is Randy Fine.
But now it looks like we're having to go back into the war theater as Iran breaks the ceasefire over and over again. Is this the right move? Is putting this blockade the right move? Your thoughts on having to go back against Iran aggressively?
Well, look, I think people have to understand a fundamental tenet that we are not one giant human family. We don't all share the same values, and not every problem can be sorted out around a drum circle. There are some people who celebrate life and there are some people who celebrate death. And one of the biggest problems we make in this country is we assume that everyone is like us. The mainstream Muslim religious leaders that run Iran are not like us. They celebrate death and they hate America because they hate the values that undergirds our society. That's why we're the great Satan, because we live in the diametrically opposite way as they believe people should live. If it was up to them, we'd all live like the Taliban makes people live in Afghanistan. And that's not something any of us want. And for 47 years, these people have lied about everything. I don't believe they ever signed that MOU with any intent to follow it. It was just to buy time, to buy time, to buy time to rebuild, to buy time to create a nuclear weapon. And so until these people are bombed into oblivion and they're willing to unconditionally surrender, I think this will go up and back. We didn't negotiate an end to World War II with the Germans. We didn't negotiate an end to World War II with the Japanese. They surrendered after they were defeated.
Second clip here. Well, the first clip, this guy I think he's talking about communists and socialists and how stupid they are.
President Trump and others starting to sound alarms that, hey, the Democrat Party, they're fracturing. They're looking like they're trying to become communists. Your thoughts on that?
Well, we need to say the truth. I think part of the problem is Democrats generally today are either, some of these people are really, really stupid, and they actually believe this stuff that they read in books would actually work. So some of them actually believe it. They're just dumb. But others hate America, like the Iranians. They hate our values. They hate our freedom. They hate capitalism. And they seek to destroy America from within. The barbarians are no longer at the gates. They're well inside. And in some cases, they're going to serve in Congress. These people are communists. They're anti-American, and they will destroy our country if we allow it. Republicans and conservatives need to be scared of the kinds of people that Democrats are proposing to come to Washington. Because there's a guy from New Jersey who worked with Hamas and Al Qaeda. We all know about the rapist from Maine who had the Nazi tattoo on his chest. There's the lady from New York who said, I wipe my dirty hands on the American flag. There was the candidate in Texas who said all Jews should go to concentration camps. There's the candidate in California who won't say the Pledge of Allegiance, even though she's elected, and yet she wants to serve in Congress. These people are insane, and they will destroy the country if we let them. We have to fight back.
And I just really like the way this guy talks. He hits the hammer on the nail head. And so if you want to, I think Leslie will put this whole interview, the whole YouTube interview on the website there, and you can see it. So with that, I'm going to bid you a fond farewell, and I hope you have a good day.